Okay, you can hear me now. And so welcome to LCSL Online. And we are just so pleased to have everybody together in this format and to be able to see faces and to connect is really important. And we appreciate your taking the time to come and do this with us. Now, our opening song is by Kylie, and it is We Welcome You, Spirit.
We welcome you, Spirit, as we gather here to love one another in ways you make clear. We lift up our hearts in joy and open our minds. We welcome you, Spirit, in this holy time. We welcome you, Spirit, as we gather here to love one another in ways you make clear. We lift up our hearts in joy and open our minds. We welcome you, Spirit, in this holy time. We welcome you, Spirit, in this holy time.
We are going to be doing our opening prayer. We take a moment to center, to allow our hearts and minds to know the truth that there is only one, and that one is God, and God is me. And so we are very grateful for knowing that we know. Very, very grateful for being here and encouraging each other and loving each other. We are very grateful for the opportunity. And so we call forth each and every one of us in love. And we let it be. And so it is. Okay, and now, Pat, you have the floor.
All right. Well, as practitioner of the day, I was thinking about change and how this year certainly been a year of change. And so I was looking around for a reading about how we could change. And I come upon a story in Science of Mind magazine about a practitioner at another center who got the idea to run his own experiment by developing a series of 5 affirmations based on principle. And these affirmations he hoped would bring more good into his life in all areas. He put them into practice by saying them repeatedly, and throughout the day he used them at home or work, wherever he was. Anytime he felt his good was stuck or he was losing sight of who he was as a metaphysician, someone who knew that we were all connected, we were all one. So this made me stop and think about us here at LCSL and how we're entering the month of Thanksgiving, and how when we used to be in person, we would hand out these little gratitude journals, and throughout the month we'd write in them the things we were grateful for. Well, we can't pass those out on a Zoom format, but we could do our own experiment with gratitude the way this practitioner did. What if we threw gratitude at everything during November? Everything. You might How might our day be different day to day with these kind of inputs, being thankful for things that were even difficult at times to be thankful for? And what if we spread it around everywhere, to everybody, to everything, little things, big things? So I thought, why don't we see if we can increase our happiness, our peace of mind, our prosperity, and lower our stress, enjoy ourselves more, and be more compassionate and forgiving. And then watch for the signs that the patterns of our lives have shifted to the sunny side, an easier side of life. Why shouldn't we, all of us here, why shouldn't we be the change we want to see the world? Why shouldn't we lead the way for that change? So here's how, I'm going to give you a project. Here's how this will work. There's 5 lines. I'll put them up here in the chat. It's a little discombobulated, but there's five lines to this affirmation for gratitude. The first line is always the same. I am so grateful. That's line 1. I am so grateful. Line 2 says the same thing, only it says something specific. I am so grateful for. And then line 3, 4, and 5 is I am so grateful with a reason for why you're grateful for what it was on line 2. And I put an example in the chat of, let's say we're going to be grateful for family. That could be an easy one or a difficult one. So I say, I am so grateful. I am so grateful for my children and grandchildren. I am so grateful they are healthy. I am so grateful they have what they need. I am so grateful they are thriving. And you could do one about LCSL and say, I am so grateful. I am so grateful for my center. I am so grateful for the minister, practitioners, leadership, and staff. I am so grateful Zoom allows us to stay connected during a pandemic. I am so grateful to continue to learn principles that guide my life. This will become a habit that will be easy for you to say about anything. So, what if you wanted to say it about something small? I am so grateful. I am so grateful for my favorite coffee mug. I am so grateful my friend gave it to me all those years ago. I am so grateful for the warm coffee it holds each morning. I am so grateful. Both of those things remind me of love. And if it's a difficult subject, like an unpleasant neighbor, why not throw some gratitude there? I am so grateful. I am so grateful for my neighbor Marge. I am so grateful Marge keeps an eye on things for everyone. I am so grateful for what dealing with Marge teaches me about patience. I am so grateful I can handle any demand Marge makes. Let's do this all month and check in each Sunday to report how being grateful several times a day, every day, not only improves our perspective on things, but makes us open to receive more and more of the good life has to offer. And if we find we like doing this, we'll try love in December and peace in January. So change will start with us today. And so it is.
I am so grateful for Pat Ferguson.
Thank you.
You're still X'd out. Can you turn yourself? There it is. You're on.
Okay, Pat is so creative, and she always comes up with something that is inspired. So I'm looking forward to a month of gratitude and having my 5 statements to make over everything that happens in my life, from the big things to the little things, because it's the little things that make the big things. So thank you, Pat. We really, really appreciate your time and effort and your prayerful care and wanting to share something with us of value. Okay, now we are going to be talking about, this month, we're going to be talking about well, we're not going to talk about anything. No, here we go. We're going to talk about living as compassionate conduits. Living as compassionate conduits. And this week's theme is the divine authority to choose. When I was reading that and reading what's coming up, and the authority, the ability to choose, I remembered the quote that we did last week. You want to bring that up, Vernon? Okay, this is the quote as it was last week, and I'm going to change a word in it as I read it, and just be in the moment and listen to what it says. No greater good can come to me than to know that the power already within is the power, the authority to live, the authority to create. Not only to create for myself, but for others. The authority to do good. The authority to heal. The authority to prosper. We are to realize that the power within us is divine authority. It is a dispenser of the divine gifts. It is a giver of life and joy. It proclaims the kingdom of heaven, the harmony of the soul, and the unity of all beings. If you notice, I moved the word authority into the word power. We have divine authority that's given to us. We have the ability to make choices, to choose what we want in our life, because God has, Spirit has imbued us with authority, with power, with the ability to make choices that happen. And so we are co-creators with the creative spirit. You know, the thing that you know is spirit is creativity. If something is destroying and not creating, it's not God. But it's something else. We know that the very nature of spirit is creativity, and that as his expressions, we are too creative. We have been given the authority to share the power to create, and we are able to do whatever it is that we want to do because we have that authority. Now, that helped me a lot to understand. We are conduits. And what is a conduit? It's something through which something else flows. And for us, we're a conduit for the creativity of spirit. We're not only spirit in expression, we are also the conduit that lets spirit express through us. Because we know that spirit is always expressing creativity. It's always inspiring us to be creative, to be alive, and to know who we are. And so we come to that and we really try to think of how we're a conduit. Now, let's see. The second slide, Burden. So we're going to be talking about the divine authority to choose today. And this opening is a quote. And I'm not sure who's from. I don't know if it's Bune or he's quoting someone else. Often other people speak of God's will as if the old anthropomorphic deity is still the one guiding, choosing, and leading us. When in truth, it is saying yes to each of our choices. So it's not that spirit through us, as us, is making our choices. It's our choices are our choices, and we have the authority to make them. And it is up to us to be a conduit for the love, the creativity, the essence of spirit. And so not only are we as the conduit spirit, but we are also sharing the conduit of, as a conduit to the spiritual perfection that spirit is. And it's constantly flowing. It's constantly calling us to creativity. It's constantly calling us to life, to live and to be. And so we have the opportunity to become aware of that and to be aware that not only do we have the authority, we have the power and we have the ability to create. And so that creation, those choices that we make, spirit just says yes. It doesn't say, oh, that's a good one. It doesn't say, oh, that's a bad one. It just says yes. Yes to whatever it is that we are visioning for ourselves, whatever we are choosing for ourselves. So how many of you, just it's rhetorical, but how many of you were raised in a faith that said that God was the power of all, and he was in heaven, and he made decisions for you, and if he wanted you to do something, he would kind of force you to do it, and if he didn't want you to do something, then then he would block you, and it was all his decision. It was all him guiding us, and all we could do was ask that it be clear and that it be for our good. And so we had the old man in the sky. I had him. He was Baptist, by the way. And I grew up with that and spent most of my adult life with that. And so then when it comes around and it says, no, it's not making decisions for you. It's supporting you in your decisions. So we want to be aware that that's its role, is to support us in our decisions and our choosings. It can sometimes be very frustrating, even for a spiritual student, we think we're choosing one thing and something else happens. And sometimes we understand, okay, that's what I was doing. And sometimes we don't. And it's very frustrating. We want it to be clear cut, but our words don't always say what we really are trying to say. Our thoughts and feelings get in the way, doubt and fear, all of those things. Who am I to create? Who am I to be a conduit for the living spirit to the world? Who am I? And so we don't take action. We don't look at it, make decisions, know that they're good, and take action. Because it takes all of that to be able to really express the connection that we have with spirit. So what is it that spirit is always creating? It is always creating stuff, creating feelings, creating us, creating something all the time. And it is the giver of life. And so we are naturally creative, and we are naturally called to be alive, to really express aliveness. And so we have that to think about and to act on. A divine creative may be expressed, and it's another thing to rise and choose and act on that knowing, own your knowledge, and we can. We can know that we are creative, that we are part of the mind, that we are empowered to make choices. We can say it to ourselves, but if we don't act on it, if we don't believe it, if we find lots of reasons why it doesn't apply to us, then it can't be expressed clearly. So we want to be able to know that we are the conduit of spirit, to know that we have the authority to heal. We have the authority to be prosperous. We have the authority to do for ourselves and for others, because that's our whole call, is to not only create for ourselves, but to create for the people around us. And we've talked about this before. If I create peace, then I'm spreading peace to other people. If I create disquiet, then that's what I am sending out to the world and what will come back to me. And so we want to choose what we're creating and then do it purposely with the knowledge that we can. How do we do this? How do we become more attuned to spirit? How do we express more of spirit? And we ask ourselves what it expresses. And it expresses kindness, creativity, the care of others, the philanthropy, good works. All of these things, when we're doing these things, we are acting as spirit. So when we are talking about how grateful we are, I would do one on, I am so grateful that the people around me know as much as they know, and that they share that with me. And I know I didn't put it in 5 sentences, but I will. Because that's what's so important, is that we are sharing with others. And we are creating for others. And so if you want to become more in line with spirit and open yourself to being a clearer expression of spirit, making better choices, then practice kindness. Practice blessing other people. Practice being kind to whoever you come across. I have a lot of experience of that. People open doors for me and they hold them and they, offer me an arm and all that kind of stuff. So that kindness is very much appreciated, and it leads me to be kind to others. Philanthropy. We can do good works. We can do all of the things that show love and caring. Vernon, put us back on full screen. And when we do this, then we are more inclined to remind ourselves, to know ourselves as spirit expressing. Now, we didn't create ourselves, but we are creating our lives. We didn't create that desire to create, but we are either using it or we're not. And we didn't give ourselves life, but we live it. When we live it, we share it with others and bless the world. So all of these things will bring us closer to clear expression, clear understanding of who we are and who the mind is and how to interact. Okay, let's do a meditation. As we settle in our chairs and take a deep breath, we let ourselves put an image of a conduit in front of us. It's interesting that the conduit and what goes through it is made of the same thing, spirit. Made with the same abilities, authorities, and desire to bless. And so we breathe. And we welcome truth into our lives and the ability to live it, to act upon what we know. And so we breathe, we know, and we live as the true being that we are, spirit. And we take a breath, letting the knowledge fill us, nourish us, inspire us. Together we seal it with, and so it is.
So it is.
Okay. We're going to open it to discussion.
Okay. Let's see here. I have our basket. Remember our little basket? So I have a basket here, and every time I go to the post office and pick up checks, I put them in the basket before I make the deposit. If I print off the report from Givelify or PayPal, I put it in the basket. And when I'm doing the book work, I bless every one of you and all that's in this basket. So if you're all of a sudden your ears get real hot, it's probably me. Okay. We thank you for everything, of course. And remember, you can do PayPal or Givelify on your phone. You can put that app on your phone, and it's super easy to repeat donations. And you can mail a check to the post office box. And I'm going to say our affirmation, I wrote it, it's a little longer than what we've been doing, but you can read it on the chat and see what it is. And our affirmation is, my holiday season is filled with God. So without exception, I give with love and compassion as my heart, hands, and mind are open to receive my good. Yes. So read it with me, please. My holiday season is filled with God, so without exception, I give with love and compassion as my heart, hands, and mind are open to receive my good. Yes. Okay. Moving right along to announcements. We have a couple this morning, 3 actually, because I wrote one in myself. November men's group is Thursday, November 5th, via Zoom at 6:30 p.m., same Zoom link. And then, because it's the beginning of the month, on Saturday, November the 7th, it's the first Sunday, and we always have a regular vision call from 10 to 10:45, and that's on Telebridge. So there's a number that's on your update for getting into that Telebridge. And this week, because Vicki will be in one of her ministerial classes, it will be led by Reverend Jane Burnett, and she's great. So if you haven't met her, now would be the time to jump on there and do that. There's no video on a Telebridge. It's strictly just being on the phone and listening and speaking. And also, speaking of the update, if you don't get our update, if you get me your address, and if you'll stay on after the close of service and give me your email address, I will be sure that you get that. I think most of you have it, but just in case there's someone who doesn't and would like to get that has the links to the Zoom service here and all that other good stuff, just let me know. And also this week, I will put the I am grateful exercise at the bottom of the update. And I think now we move into our closing treatment, and that would be me again. So, wow. I am so grateful to know, to realize, to understand that there is one God and one life, and it is my life and the life of all people everywhere, all nature, all animals, and all of us living, breathing, growing, are united as one family. Some of us more aware than others of the connection. But the connection is there and never broken, whether you only know it a little or you don't know it at all, or you know it a lot. You can always know it more. You can always feel it more. And I am grateful for everyone here. I am grateful for the like-minded people that join me and help me to grow. And so the highest and best is what I propose we hold for each and everyone here and everyone out there. And I take these words of gratitude and I lift them and release them into a law that automatically begins working on them. When I say the word, the magic begins. And so as I leave them in the law, I smile, I'm happy, and I am so grateful. And so it is.
I am so grateful for you and for me. And so join me in blessing each other I am so blessed to know each and every one of you. I am so blessed, and I am so grateful. And so it is.